Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for October 2025. Happy birthday to you, Scorpios out there. You have this card, it says Trust in Magic. You also have this Bat Spirit, it says Rebirth is assured. Yeah, if I were Scorpio, there's like one thing that I think you should be focused on in October, and that is letting go of anything that is draining your energy. Definitely a theme for you in October. And so anything that's like stealing your vibe, stealing your energy, or anything like that is something that I would be working on either eliminating or correcting. I always say, like, we don't necessarily have to eliminate energy drains from our life. Like a good example is like business. It's like sometimes in business or work, there are things that are draining you, but it's like also sometimes you can outsource those things or you can hire someone or whatever, right? So it's like, it's not so much about eliminating, it's about smoothing out or making something, more efficient in your life. And like I said, I think that's a big theme for you in October, even if it doesn't show up in the reading here. Like I said, it is like a big astrological theme for Scorpio that I would be working on for sure. You have in your current general energies, you have the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and sure, we'll take both of these, why not? And the Knight of Pentacles. The Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It says when you know that something is for you, it's for you. So it's about like believing in yourself more or believing that something can be successful in your life. And it's funny that you have the Hermit right next to it, right here, because the Hermit has been through a dark night of the soul. He has like earned his right to be shining that lantern. He has the star inside his lantern, and I think he needs to shine it out all over the place. And that's kind of what I feel you need to do, Scorpio, is like show off or believe that you have completed a long journey. You have that Rebirth is assured card. You're a Scorpio. You are basically rebirth, and so a lot of you could be like rebirthing yourself or being in the world in a different way, and I think it would be a great time for you to show off. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. Yeah, I think this is like a water sign thing where water signs could be looking at where they're being held back and trying to get out of those situations. The thing about the Eight of Swords is there are a million ways she could solve her situation, but she's thinking that there's only one way she can solve the situation she's in. But she just needs to be open to all possibilities, and she needs to be open to other solutions or other ways of doing things, and that's what will make her successful. I'm not too worried about it because you have the Six of Swords right next to it, and the Six of Swords is like moving forward, moving on, kind of moving on to calmer shores, and you definitely could be heading towards calmer shores here. You actually have two sixes, and I love two sixes. It's kind of like confirmation for your path. It says you're going in the right direction, so I love, definitely love to see that in the reading. But again, I think there's something you need to set yourself free from. I also feel you need to trust your intuition more. She has this blindfold on, and blindfolds in the tarot represent not trusting your intuition. You have the High Priestess here, and I say this a lot, but it's true. The problem is that we have Neptune retrograde. Neptune will retrograde in the middle of this month back into Pisces officially. Neptune and Pisces is a little bit, it wants us to trust our intuition, but it's a little bit, there's like a little bit too much fantasy. It's like sometimes it's like we can have an idea, but maybe it doesn't make sense, or, maybe we feel like we aren't capable or we can't do what we're intuiting. But really, it's like those wackier ideas that are going to be successful at this time. We also have Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is like the king of wacky ideas to solve problems, and not even problems. Like you can create just improvements on improvements with Uranus and Gemini that are wacky, but still good. So, I feel this is saying, like, don't be afraid of those wackier ideas. You have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is like slow and steady progress. Sometimes I like the Knight of Pentacles, sometimes I don't. In your reading, I do like it. I feel like with the Six of Swords that you are making progress. It's kind of weird. It's like you're making progress towards a mystery. We go up here to the Six of Swords to the High Priestess. The High Priestess can be a little bit mysterious, and we're not there yet. We'll see what comes up when we get to that High Priestess, but I almost feel this is something that you're going to have to learn about. So it could be like an opportunity that you're receiving that is going to require a certain level of research. And so I feel like this is saying, like, basically, don't be afraid if you get an opportunity where you don't know all the details. You end with that Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is the card of being willing to learn as you go. So it's like sometimes I think we get an opportunity in life, but we're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, so I shouldn't do it. But really, the Queen of Wands is like, no, you should, and you will figure it out. And, I feel that you need to have that confidence, right? The Seven of Wands wants you to be confident and believe in yourself and all those things. So I would, if I were you, Scorpio. Let's see. With the Seven of Wands, you have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is being spoiled for choice. Again, a pretty good card to get with the Eight of Swords because it says you have a lot more options than you realize, or there are more options for you to get out of a situation or to improve your situation. Again, as far as fantasy is concerned, though, he is kind of fantasizing. He's dreaming of an idea, or he's thinking about something he wants to create in life. But he might be like dreaming too much, or he might be overthinking something a little bit. There are good things and bad things in these cups. So it's like he's getting an opportunity, but then, he's not starting right away. The trick with the Seven of Cups is to just start and don't think too much about things that come your way. You will figure it out. Here you go. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Hermit. I knew that the Hermit was definitely connected to this first row because of that Seven of Wands. It just makes perfect sense. It's, it kind of would represent holding back on something that you should be shining out into the world, like a skill, or, maybe you want to become a leader or something. The Hermit has to come down from the mountain. I mean, this is literally the time that we're in right now. We have the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. I always say, like, South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces is basically the Hermit. The story of people who are born with South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces is that in a past life they probably escaped to a mountain because someone hurt them in the real world, and so they wanted to punish the world, and they decided to punish the world and not share their experience with the world because they were hurt in a past life, right? And it's like that people who are born with that have to overcome that. And, it basically says, and since we have the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, I think we all have something that we should be sharing with the world in some way, and we need to have the confidence to do it. And that's what I would do if I were you. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Cups. Yeah, there's a little bit of love here. Again, the end of the year is good-ish for love for water signs. We do have a Mercury retrograde in November, but I always tell people, like, I don't think we should be letting astrology or tarot, for that matter, control our lives. If we pay attention, we'll be fine. There are plenty of people that have met people during retrogrades and are still together to this day. So, again, we just have to pay attention. But also, we don't have a retrograde in Mercury this month. We do have others, but, again, it's perfectly fine if you meet a person to go on a couple dates, see how things go, and, just go from there, right? But definitely could be love. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this X relationship card. It says change, closure, healing, nostalgia. You have this travel. It says growth, desire for change, and exploration. Both cards say change, so, again, I think it could be a good time for you to experience a change. I don't think an X is coming back here or anything, but, again, you could be, I feel like this energy of comparison, basically, I would be careful of comparing someone to an X. I think that's always not necessarily a good thing to be doing, for sure. But I do feel that, there could be new love. I think it's an excellent time for exploration. So the travel card, it says exploration on it. You don't even have to travel, right? It's like you can go you can explore something from the comfort of your own home. Learning a new topic, developing a new hobby, things like that are exploration. And we are in a time of exploration. You have the Hermit, the Six of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. I feel this is saying that you have discovered something. I almost feel this should be more of like a flashlight. It's like I feel like maybe you've been wandering around Eight of Swords for a long time, and it's almost like your flashlight in the darkness has hit something that is interesting to you, and I would like explore it. It could even be a person, like maybe you've developed an interest in a person, but it's kind of like that first, it's like you've first seen it or something has captured your attention real quick, and I feel this is saying, like, yeah, you should like explore whatever is exciting you at this time. So I do feel a little bit different about the Hermit here. It's almost like you're seeing something in the darkness. You even have the Moon here. The Moon is part of the Fool's journey. He has no freaking clue where he's going to end up, but he just knows he has a goal. He sees something, he's going to work towards it. He doesn't know what the outcome is going to be, but he's willing to go on the adventure. So that I think would be an excellent energy for you here to embrace. Could be a Virgo. You always get Virgo in your readings. Virgo always shows up you always show up in their readings. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be like a Virgo. With the Six of Swords, I think you are moving on from that Eight of Swords. So wherever you have been stuck, I feel like you're moving forward and you're like making progress here with the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is moving on to calmer shores. So you are probably making improvements. Sometimes people will say that the Six of Swords can represent being stuck in the mud. He has this long, the ferryman has this long pole that he's sticking down into the mud to move the boat forward. I feel like you maybe have been stuck for a long time in the darkness, like I said, and it's like your light has hit something that has captured your attention, and I feel moving in that direction will probably get you unstuck. It's almost like you're being led out of darkness, really, in this reading, or at least these first two rows are kind of moving you out of darkness, which is good. I also feel like if you are, I don't think this is true for all of you, what I'm about to say, but if you are thinking about making a drastic change, I do think it would be good for you. It's like sometimes I think we think, oh, like, I need a fresh start. I need to like move cross country and get a new job and, totally start over. That's what I like, again, I think this is going to be for very few of you. But if you are thinking about doing something that would be, equivalent to that, I do feel it would be good. I think it would change your life. Like, very rarely. I always say, like, years ago I moved to Seattle, and I grew up in Connecticut, little Connecticut, right? And I thought I would feel different, but I never really felt different. It's like nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't always think a move, for example, changes much. But I do feel that whatever this move you're making here could be, will be a drastic change for you here, Scorpio. You have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles, of course, is equal give and take and planting seeds in a new direction. It's also about being careful with your energy, which is kind of more what I feel for you. He's giving to this person, not this person. This person has something in their back pocket. They kind of have ulterior motives. So I feel that you should be kind of choosy with your energy. Wouldn't surprise me to see like the Nine of Cups in this reading. There's an alternative meaning to the Nine of Cups where he has those cups behind him. And it's like the alternative meaning is that he's choosing who to give those cups to. So, again, I think that it would be a good time for you to choose like who and what gets your energy. With the Hermit, you have the Devil, basically what I just said. I do feel a little bit different for you here because I feel there are some things that you are stuck to. I'm cheating a little bit based off your astrology, Scorpio. I think that some of you maybe feel or have felt trapped to a job or something that you're working on. And, that could be the energy vampire in your life. The Devil can be like something that is stealing your energy. And I feel a lot of you are looking for a way out of that. Eight of Swords, for sure. And, the good news is, I feel now is the time where you could be discovering a way out of that situation that has been keeping you stuck for so long. With the Six of Swords, you have the Six of Swords. So, whenever a card repeats itself, it's basically the universe saying, I meant what I said. So the universe is encouraging you to move on, move forward. I feel like you're getting unstuck here. In an area of your life where you maybe have been a little bit stuck in the mud and maybe you haven't been sure like how to move forwards or backwards or how to do what you need to do. With the Six of Pentacles, sure, we'll take both. You have the Knight of Swords, which you have at the end of the reading, and the Two of Cups, which you also have at the end of the reading. Again, whenever we have these repeating cards, it's basically the universe saying I meant what I said. I do like readings that have a lot of repeating cards because it's kind of like confirmation. Just like two sixes, is confirmation for your path. It's like the same thing. The universe is basically saying, I have nothing else to add. This is the story. So the Two of Cups can be a new connection that is with the Knight of Swords that is rushing into your life. I feel pretty good about this if you are connecting to love. You might be a little bit uncertain with that Moon card, like of where it's going or if it's going to work. But you end with the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups here. So clearly, whatever this is probably going to work. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, love this. You have the Sage card. It says hearts, desires, manifesting. You also have this Rain card. It says gifts on it. So you could literally be manifesting a gift from the universe or a gift in your life in general. I feel like we are in a heart-based time. Again, we have Uranus going back into Taurus in November. And even though it's not there yet, Uranus and Taurus is somewhat heart-based. It is freedom. According to Chris's crappy astrology here, it wants us to do things that create more freedom. Obviously, if we're able to live from our heart more, we're probably going to feel more free. So, again, I think that focusing on your heart and what your heart is telling you to do at this time would be a good idea. You have the High Priestess, the Moon, and the Page of Wands. The High Priestess, of course, is about trusting your intuition. But again, I feel like you are encountering a mystery. It's like you're encountering an enigma. I feel like you are encountering something that doesn't fit in anywhere in the world. You know, it's like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit, but not like in a bad way. I feel like this is in a good way. For some of you, it could be a person. You know, you could really be attracting a person that just like doesn't fit in. But I mean that in the best way possible. Like they're, you know, kind of like unlike anyone else that you've experienced. But this could also be an opportunity, just in general, where it's like it doesn't really fit in somewhere, but it's right. And I feel like this is saying, like, don't be worried if what you're doing doesn't make sense to other people. You know, I almost feel this energy of needing to not be afraid of marching to the beat of your own drum. You know, the Queen of Wands really is the card of marching to the beat of your own drum. She has a plan. She has an idea. She has that sunflower in her hand. It points towards the sun. She doesn't care if people don't understand it or not. She's just like, I want to do XYZ with my life. And I feel like developing that level of confidence and, you know, being willing to just see what's on the other side would be important. The High Priestess is kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You know, it's like needing to peek behind the curtain. You know, she has this curtain behind her, and it's a mystery. We don't know what's behind her. But, you know, maybe she needs to see how things work, right? And I kind of feel that for you. There is another theory that, you know, again, this isn't necessarily accurate tarot, but it is popping into my head. But there is a theory that she has her back to the world, and she is kind of like creating a quiet place for herself where she can focus on her own thoughts and her own intuition. And it is popping into my head that that would be good for you. You have the moon. Again, it's a mystery. It's a mysterious time, apparently, for you here, Scorpio. So I would like embrace the mystery, whatever the mystery is in your life. The moon, again, is part of the Fool's journey, but he needs to get to these mountains. But again, the whole entire card basically says there are illusions. You know, if you've ever been outside on a full moon, the full moon, you can see, it's like you can see, but there are shadows all over the place. You know, the full moon casts shadows that could be illusions. They might be real. They might be fake. You don't know. And that's the trick with the moon, is to keep going towards a goal. No matter what, because the moon is temporary. Eventually the moon will go down and the sun will come up, and you will be able to see things more clearly. But you have to like get started on the journey for that to happen in the first place. And that's the energy I feel here. You have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands, like I said, is about embracing the adventure, going on the adventure, having fun. I will say, a lot of people have been getting this energy. Page of Wands, like, you know, he practices non-attachment to outcome, and that seems to be a little bit of a theme for like the collective in October so far. So again, it might be one of those months where we just need to see how things go, or just be willing to see how things go, and, you know, that will probably be very helpful. Let's see. With the High Priestess, you have the Lovers. There you go. So we have the Lovers and the Two of Cups here. Definitely could be a love connection for sure. I would say this person doesn't fit a mold. Like, this person is very unique or different. You know, it could be a person who stands out for some reason in a unique way. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe it isn't. You know, again, it's like this person probably doesn't have a job, right? They probably, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They probably have their own business or something, or maybe they do something different than what most people do. And, you know, I feel that energy for you. I also feel like there's something like that maybe normally you would judge, right? But it's like it doesn't apply to this person. I don't really have any good examples, but it's like maybe you want a person who went to college, for example. It's like this person didn't go to college, you know? It's like there's something different. And that's what I feel intuitively. And like I said, I'm not criticizing you, Scorpio, or anything. It's like we all have preferences, but... You know, it's like maybe normally you wouldn't date a person who didn't go to college for whatever reason. And, you know, again, I feel this would be good. With the moon, yes, you have the Seven of Wands, just needing to commit. Another repeating card. Seven of Wands would say you just need to commit to the journey. This is like burn your boats type of energy, where it's like you start something where there is no other way than for you to be successful, right? Which is scary for sure. But, you know, I feel that for some of you, where it's like some of you might be, it's like I said it earlier about the drastic change. It's like you're about to make a change where there is no going back. And maybe that's what this is. The whole entire reading is that some of you are about to do something where it's like once you do it, that's it. With the Page of Wands, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, Three of Pentacles is about people supporting your vision. but there's only 2 people that are supporting his vision, you know? And so just like I said with the Queen of Wands, people do not understand for the life of them why she's doing what she's doing. We'll talk about it more in a minute. But, you know, again, there might be 2 people in her life that do still support her, right? And the 3 of Pentacles is about choosing to surround yourself with those people that really support you. And that's exactly what I would do here. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Take the Lead card. Yes, in the Focus card, it's like obviously many leaders, you know, it's like people didn't understand them at the time, but they stayed focused and they accomplished their goal, right? So, you know, anyone who's done anything important, it's like probably at some point in their life, people have told them they're nuts or they're crazy for doing what they're doing, right? And I feel like that's what you need to realize is like, you know, of course, it's like you shouldn't fit in either. It's like maybe you are the puzzle piece that doesn't fit anywhere. And that's good. You know, usually those are the best freaking people. So nothing wrong with that. You have the 2 of Cups, Ace of Cups, Knight of Swords, Queen of Wands. The 2 of Cups, again, can be a perfect match. So again, I feel there could be a perfect match coming in for you here. I kind of feel like this is something that falls into your lap almost. You know, it's like if you don't have a person right now, I feel, and if you are looking for love, I feel this will be very random. You know, it's like you could meet this person in public randomly, or, you know, it just feels like it does fall into place, which very rarely happens. But, you know, definitely could be a solid connection with the 2 of Cups. Again, 2 of Cups is usually different than your usual type. I'm telling you right now, there's something different going on here. I'm not saying you don't like it. I'm just saying that, you know, sometimes I think we have a preference about something, whatever, and we meet a person that doesn't have that preference or whatever, and, you know, whatever. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But, you know, what I would say here is I would give it a chance for sure. I'm not even worried about it because I think you are. I think you're not even going to pay attention to it. You have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups can be a love offer, obviously, coming in for you. The Ace of Cups also wants us to do more of what we love. And I think this is going to become a much bigger theme in November for you, but I would start now. You know, again, you are a fixed sign. Taurus is a fixed sign. Uranus is going to go into Taurus. It's going to affect you more than everybody else other than Taurus, right? So, you know, I would be doing things that are heart-based. I would be doing things that fulfill your heart, that cause you to overflow more hobbies, more fun, more love. It doesn't even have to be a person. Could be your family, whatever. And, you know, all those energies are going to be beneficial. You have the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Wands. Yeah, it's like you're zipping off here, Scorpio. I don't even think this is a worry or a concern that I have in the reading. Like, you know, again, Queen of Wands has that sunflower. She also has that black cat. The black cat in the Times of Tarot was considered very unlucky, but the whole point of the card is that she doesn't care. Again, I think that your secret sauce to this reading is that you don't care, or that you shouldn't care what people think about what you're doing, and you should just charge in that direction, right, of following your heart, or doing what your heart is telling you to do, no matter what anyone says. And that's what I would do here, Scorpio. With the 2 of Cups, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like, and maybe that's the difference between the two people here. It's like maybe one person is very practical, the other person's more, you know, whatever, in the clouds or not practical. So that could be part of the difference. The Queen of Pentacles is also great for your finances and the good stuff. Here you go. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Emperor. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor type person. You also have that card that says take the lead, and the Emperor is definitely about you taking the lead on any new opportunities that come your way. So I think taking the lead on things would be great. With the Queen of Wands, here you go. You have the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. It's basically heaven. So I feel that a lot of you, it's like, yeah, maybe people are like, what are you doing making these changes in your life? What are you doing, you know, moving to the middle of Africa to start a business or whatever the heck you're doing, right? That seems weird to other people. It's like what they don't realize is like you're creating your own blessings, you know? And I feel like that's exactly what you should be doing here, Scorpio, is like, you know, creating your own blessings no matter what anyone tells you to do. So there you go. We're going to see what else wants to come up here. You have the Sunrise card. It says new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. You also have the Sun card next. So, you know, again, definitely could be a lot of happiness. But this is basically what we talked about the whole time, is how the sun is coming up. Sunrise. Are you kidding? We talked about the moon, how the moon goes down, the sun comes up. You know, there you go. You have the Sun card. It says happiness and well-being. The only thing you should focus on with the Ace of Cups is happiness, well-being, doing things that matter to you, doing things that are fun. You have this bear. It says danger, especially in money matters. I say it to everybody. I've been saying this since 2016 that at the end of Neptune and Pisces, money is going to change. What does it look like? No clue. I have no idea. But, I don't think we should be paranoid. I just think we should pay attention. And we probably shouldn't purchase things we don't need. We should just pay attention, right? You have this July card in this fan. It says romance, celebration, party. Could be a person who is born in the month of July that's coming in for you here, Scorpio. So if you're looking for love, that could be their birth time. I feel that, you need to kind of have Christmas in October here. Again, do something to like celebrate the month or, do something nice for yourself at this time. I think it would be important. You have this chair empty. It says someone is leaving your life. If you have like an ex that you've been thinking about, we have this ex relationship card that's showing up here. I don't think anyone's returning or anything like that, but this could be like the final moment. It's like I think we can hold on to a person for years without even realizing it. It's like sometimes we develop certain behaviors in future relationships because of past ones, and we like carry it forward. I feel like you are finally, cutting that out, which is probably good. But this looks pretty interesting here, Scorpio, so thank you for being here. I forgot to say, as usual, make sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps me out. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.